Again, Wednesday, January 12th, 1966, Pope Paul VI, general audience. He says, beloved sons and daughters, the life of the church is dominated by the Ecumenical Council, which was concluded last December. And it is not only the memory of an event so rare and so great that must keep our souls busy, the memory refers to a past event. Memory collects it. History records it. Tradition preserves it. But this whole process concerns a finite moment, a past event. Instead, the council leaves behind something that lasts and continues to act. The council is like a spring from which a river flows. The source may be far away, the current of the river follows us. It can be said that the council leaves itself to the church, which celebrated it. The council does not oblige us so much to look back at the act of its celebration, but it forces us to look at the legacy it has left us, and which is present and will last for the future. What is this legacy? The legacy of the council consists of the documents that were promulgated in the various final moments of its discussions and deliberations. These documents are of a different nature. That is, they are constitutions, 4 of them. There are decrees, 9 of them. There are also declarations, 3 of them. But altogether, they form a body of doctrines and laws which must give the church that renewal for which the church was, or the council was promoted. Knowing, studying, applying these documents is the duty and the fortune of the post-conciliar period. Let's stop right there. Again, the purpose of the council was to, first of all, guard the deposit of faith, but then to explain it in a way that makes sense to modern man. So to communicate it effectively, which is what we as Christians are supposed to do. If we are to evangelize, if we are to be evangelists and bring the gospel to people, we bring the gospel to them in a way that they can understand. And that was the purpose of the council, to take that one deposit of faith, that sacred tradition that we've been given, and to communicate it with our present or current culture. And he says, knowing, studying, applying these documents is the duty and fortune of the post-conciliar period. Unfortunately, many Catholics have failed at this one, which is why I highly recommend, if you're confused today in the Catholic Church, whether you're a Catholic or not, read the documents of the Second Vatican Council. At least read the 4 major constitutions, and you'll get a really good feel for its flavor. Don't read things out of context. Read the whole thing, and I promise you'll come away saying, wow, this is really good. This is solid. This isn't what a lot of people were telling me it was. And it can't be used to somehow say that we can throw away the past, throw away sacred tradition, throw away the dogmas of the church, and we can somehow move on and accept things that the current culture is teaching that were, in conflict with what the church taught in the past. You can't have this hermeneutic of discontinuity, if you will. Okay, it goes on to say, we must be careful. The teachings of the council do not constitute an organic and complete system of Catholic doctrine. So he's saying the council is not to be considered by itself. It's not a complete system of doctrine, like as if to say everything that belongs to the Catholic faith is somehow right then and there, concisely in the Second Vatican Council. And so all we have to do is just look at Vatican II. We can ignore everything else of the past. Don't read the Council of Trent. Don't read Nicaea. Don't read this. Don't read that. You can just go to Vatican II. That's all you need to do. There are people who are promoting that. Usually they're more liberal-leaning Catholics. Paul VI says, no, you can't do that. He says this is much broader, as everyone knows, and it is not questioned by the council or substantially modified. Indeed, the council confirms it, illustrates it, defends it, and develops it with a most authoritative apology full of wisdom, vigor, and trust. So what the Second Vatican Council does is it's not a complete system of Catholic doctrine, but it is there to substantially communicate it, to illustrate it, confirm it, defend it, but it's not to be read alone, as if you can just read that and just ignore everything else from the past. No, it has to be read in light of what the church has previously taught. He continues, and it is this doctrinal aspect of the council that we must first of all note for the honor of the word of God, which remains univocal and perennial, like a light that does not go out. Are you listening? The word of God does not go out. There are some bishops today that want the word of God to go out, and they want to impose some things that shouldn't be included in the church, i.e., the German bishops. He says, no, no. It's a light that doesn't go out, and it's comfort for our souls, which from a frank and solemn voice of the council experience what providential office was entrusted by Christ to the living magisterium of the church, to guard, to defend, and to interpret the deposit of faith. So it's up to the church, the magisterium, the teaching authority of the church, ultimately to guard, preserve, and interpret that which has been given to us by God's sacred revelation. He says we must not detach the teachings of the council from the doctrinal patrimony of the church. Again, he's clear. You can't just take what Vatican II says and divorce it from Trent. You can't do that. You can't divorce it from Chalcedon or from whatever was taught in the past. You can't just divorce it. You have to read it in continuity with that which came prior to the Second Vatican Council. There must be a hermeneutic of continuity here. We must not detach the teachings of the council from the doctrinal patrimony of the church. It is good to see how they fit into it, how they are consistent with it. What was taught in the past and the Second Vatican Council are consistent, and how they bear witness to it, increase explanation and application. Then also the doctrinal or normative novelties of the council appear in their right proportions. They do not create objections to the church's fidelity to her didactic function, her teaching function, and they acquire that true meaning which makes her shine with a superior light. So he's saying those areas that seem discontinuous with the past, it seems different, ultimately they're not. Substantially they're same. There could be some differences in approach, what we would call maybe accidental differences, but substantially it is the same faith. Therefore, the council helps the faithful, whether they are teachers or disciples, to overcome those states of mind, of denial, of indifference, of doubt, of subjectivism, who are against the purity and strength of faith. It is a great act of the ecclesiastical magisterium, and whoever adheres to the council thereby recognizes and honors the magisterium of the church. And this was the first idea that moved Pope John the 23rd of venerable memory to convoke the council, as he well said when he inaugurated it. It was our intention, as he expressed himself, in convening this very large assembly to reaffirm the ecclesiastical magisterium. What matters most to the ecumenical council, he continued, is this: that the sacred deposit of Christian doctrine be more effectively guarded and exposed. Right there, you, in a nutshell, in one sentence, you have the entire Second Vatican Council properly understood, properly interpreted in one sentence. The Second Vatican Council takes the deposit of faith. It takes that which has been given to us by God in sacred revelation, and it guards it. Number one, it guards it. It does not change it. It guards it, and then it expounds it or exposes it, proclaims it. Those two things are there. Guard the deposit of faith, and then explain it, explicate it, promote it, bring it to the nations. That's the purpose of the Second Vatican Council.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. God bless.